So essentially be doubling the size of their home. They asked why we didn't ask to tear it down. This project was a historic remodel and addition that's located in the Orenco townsite conservation zone. It was built in 1915 and it's a Foursquare Craftsman style home. So there is quite a vast mix of architecture within that district or that zone, but this is one of the original homes that is still standing. The main client is a independent contractor. What he really needed us for was to develop a new plan for the addition, take that through engineering, and also create the documentation to submit to the historical review board. So anytime we're changing the exterior, like facade and feel of one of these historic buildings, it needs to go through this historical review process. I was caught off guard in the historical review, just based on the condition that you'll see. They asked why we didn't ask to tear it down. And it threw me for a loop, but I explained to them that that was not the brief that the clients had presented to us. Their goal being that they wanted to live in it and expand upon it to welcome their family into it. So as you can see here, the house has seen better days at this point. There was some black plastic wrapped around some of the columns to protect them from further rot. The roof was a little soft and spongy. Some of the structural components inside were a little questionable as well. All of the windows had been taken out and boarded over. But as you can see in some of these images, we have kind of a questionable addition that had been added at some point. Basically, they pulled out some of the larger windows and put a much smaller sliding aluminum window that has no business being in a house of that age. We were able to grab some of the details that we would be presenting to the historical board. So here is a nice cross-section and measurement of what their exterior siding looks like. I think one of the really interesting parts of this photo, looking at just how tight the grain is on this piece of lumber. New trees, they're grown so fast, they don't get the density that you see in the cross-section of this piece of wood, with each line being a year of growth. The intention is, and the requirements for the zone, is to maintain existing materials and features if they're still of sound use. One reason we have this piece is so that the client could take this to a lumber mill and get new siding milled to the exact specifications to match the old siding, so that once they're painted and applied to the house, they should look seamless. We're gonna recreate the existing exterior casing details with the lintel, a nice flat, wide casing. One of the things that was a challenge was finding the exact window lintel detail. I looked through many of our catalogs and profile books and was not able to find the exact profile that we were looking for. So the client was able to harvest a little piece of that and is able to take that to one of the local mills here to get a custom knife created so that we can recreate that exact detail. The clients brought us in because they wanted to add a 2-car garage and a primary suite for the parents, keeping the kids in the main historic portion of the home, and then converting the attic space above into a livable space that's basically a loft bonus area. So the existing portion of the home is this area right here in the mostly gray area. And then the addition is shaded here in blue. Mostly I think the clients were drawn to this style of the home because it is a nice Craftsman. I find that that style is pretty popular with people in the construction industry because it really celebrates their trade. Looking at the new plan that we have here, we have extended this wall that kind of defined the bedroom in the back corner originally so that we can have a nice continuous hallway, create a second bedroom, and then using some of that space in between, subdividing it so that we can have closets for both of those rooms. The kitchen will be in the center, and then the living and dining spaces will be towards the front of the house that are more public. We'll come around a corner here, come into a nice primary bedroom, which will also have an ensuite bathroom that'll include a shower, and then a nice large walk-in closet towards the back of that. So the existing building was just over 1,000 square feet, and that's just the footprint of the house. It's not including the second level. And then the additional square footage, again, just the footprint of it, not including the bonus spaces up above, is just over another 1,000 square feet. So essentially be doubling the size of their home. On this front elevation here, these are our 2 existing windows that we are planning on restoring. Looking at the side here, we can see, again, some of the windows, how they originally were detailed out. This is the rear elevation where that questionable addition was slapped onto the back of it. So looking at our new elevations here, we can see kind of a lot of the details that we're noting about the existing home as well as what's going to be happening on the addition here. The plan is obviously to replace those foundation walls and then put a skim coat of stucco over them just to unify the new concrete foundation walls with the existing CMU walls. Here's our existing windows with the leaded lights. Everywhere else, windows will be replaced with new Pella Historic windows. They're Reserve collection, so it's a nice wood window with an aluminum cladding on the exterior. They'll still look and feel like a wood window. They essentially are a wood window, just the exterior has a thin layer of painted aluminum on them to preserve them longer. So there was a big learning curve for myself to get this through, but I'm really proud of myself. I got through the historic review on our first try. At this point, what I think would be really awesome is to just kind of go ahead and zoom around the 3D model that we've created. So we'll pull a camera here. So this would be as if we are standing at the corner of the alley and the front street that the house faces to. As you can see in this view now, we really only see the existing home. So we've got our overhead door here as well as our access door. Here is that hip that is extended over from the original roof structure. As I was designing this wall felt very massive and just imposing. So we've actually also created a little roof detail that will follow the lower roof of the porch, kind of on the back side of the house, just to give it a little bit more architectural detail. Come back towards the front of the house. We can see how the existing structure and the new addition, while doubling the size of the house, it is set back a fair distance from the street. So it shouldn't feel quite so imposing as, doubling the size of the house. A lot of that is hidden behind the house, and then some of it just kind of peeks off to the side here. But maintaining that nice, equal, even roof ridge line along the top and not protruding beyond that, I believe helps to keep the feel of the house. The use of the house is going to remain consistent. It was a single family home to begin with. It's going to be a single family home now. And those are a lot of the kind of higher criteria points for this historic addition.